Like,
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on. Thank you very much for that, Ian Wright. Big up everybody tuned in across. I'm moving like Arsenal, stuttering and fluffing my lines. Across Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. Make sure you're across following. Win, lose, or draw. Appreciate you lot support. And that's what football's about. I'm sure if you support Arsenal or any other club, you want to win and never lose a game. That's not how things happen now. Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. Yesterday, we went out. Familiar theme, really. Whenever we play Bayern Munich in the Champions League, we go out a bit different. And if I'm completely honest, between my tactical review that I'm in the process of doing, between the reaction vids, between the watch-alongs, between the comments I've had with my friends and the fight for my life in the group chat, and you would have seen a series of tweets, I'm kind of exhausted. It is what it is. We're out, innit? Like, the positives are it was a more closely fought encounter against Bayern Munich than it's ever been. Many people will say this has been the worst, rightly so, worst Bayern Munich side in a hot minute where you look at what they're doing domestically. But I'm not being funny. Harry Kane, Sane, the list goes on of the quality players they have, their managers' quality, they have the European pedigree. And with their disappointments in their domestic campaign, it's going to give them a bit of juice going into this game against us. And actually, when you look at it, they're actually on course to still win more points this season than they was last season, provided they win games. So it tells you the belly of the beast. I love my football club. I love what we're doing. I love the trajectory. There's therefore question marks, but across the two legs, we look like, the new kid in school, really and truly. And Bayern Munich looked like year 7s versus year 11s. And yesterday, I can't accuse my players of being scared and lacking that sort of stuff, people. But it didn't look like we was fully scared, but it looked like we were scared. It didn't look like we was brave, but there was elements of bravery, but we weren't brave. It was a bit of stick or twist. We didn't really know what to do. And I think under Mikel Arteta, it's more so in the big games where we win, lose, or draw. On the face of it, possession is even, shots are even, defined margins don't go for us. Is that because players are burnt out? Is that because psychological factors? Is that because the players are inexperienced? Is there a lack of plan B from the manager and the players? Do we have those individuals that can stand up to be counted and, put the team on their back and say, I'm making the difference? Or is it a mixture of everything? I believe it is, people. Obviously, April's been a terrible month so far for us. 3 games without a win, for a team like Arsenal Football Club, it's always going to be a crisis. And between the 2 goals we conceded against Bayern Munich at the Emirates, obviously the one last night, and in between that, smash the like button. But in between that, the 2 against Aston Villa, we've shot ourselves in the foot defensively. In the last 2 games we played in all comps in the second half, let's be real, it's been terrible. Like, we've fallen off a cliff, if I'm honest with you. As my notes say here, people, I believe we can compete, but we haven't managed to work in the fine margins in our favor. I do believe the team isn't good enough to, hang with the big boys in the Champions League and actually deliver a Premier League title, but I love the trajectory we're on. There's too many hot and cold players. There's too many hot and cold players, and I'm not trying to dig anybody out. Pause, unless it's gal. But even the star boys, the ones that do the job. Declan Rice looked out of his depth. Bukayo Saka, 30 league goal contributions, has carried this club on his back for a while. He's a young man. He can't really do it. Martinelli can't really do it. I think Jorginho was one of the better players yesterday. And I think Bayern Munich did a great job of not allowing us to play really through central areas. Jorginho's not someone that's going to provide longevity. And again, if Jorginho's being marked out the game and can't do it all the other times, where is everyone else? Odegaard marked out the game as well. Kai Havertz, most disappointing Kai Havertz performance in a while, really and truly. Too many hot and cold players. Who really and truly in this team can you bet on for 30 of the 38 Premier League games? Saka's earned that right. People can say what the fuck they want, pardon my language, about him. He's still the star boy. He's still a great player for us. But Bukayo Saka's won. Declan Rice has shown he's won. Saliba and Gabriel, there's a lot of teething problems, but they've also shown that. I'd throw Declan Rice in there, and there's a couple of others. But the rest are very hot and cold. They go through great purple patches. Big up Jorginho. He is one of them. Kyrill's another one who you can't really get on. Obviously, Kai Havertz is another. And I'm not trying to put this again about anyone, but if you want to win Prems and Champions Champions Leagues. It's a different sort of belly of the beast, and we don't have that essentially, people. When you throw in the fact of, our players look burnt out, I don't think that's an excuse yesterday. I think it's a factor. Look burnt out. We're using the same, 11 to 14 players. Arteta has said we've got one of the finished squads, and you're seeing it really and truly. There has to be a correlation. The last couple of seasons, when it gets towards the tail end of it, we burn out. And again, Arteta, you've been here long enough to know that this excuse kind of don't go too far, really. Mikel Arteta, I love what he's doing. I do believe we'll get onto the Arteta thing. I do think there's been games he's shown he can tweak things in our favor, but generally he showed me he can plan for an opponent. He can think of a sort of tactical thing and really implement that. But there's no plan B, whether that's bringing off subs, whether that's changing things. I do like the fact that, we're committed to a certain sort of play. We're very patient. We'll keep remaining doing what we're doing, even if it's not clear. But again, in the Champions League or against foreign opponents, that doesn't really go far. If I'm honest with you, I think the mentality has improved. I do think the players have shown resilience, but we ain't got Spartans. We ain't got warriors. We've got nice guys. Like, there's a lot of nice guys out there. They'll help your mother with the shopping and stuff, but we need some, pardon my language, some see you next Tuesdays. There's too many nice guys. You look at the invincible sides that have won stuff. Any team that has won stuff in the Premier League, Arsenal, Spurs, City. When man said Spurs, I'm bugging out there. Spurs ain't won nothing. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc., etc. You look at the Barca sides, the invincible sides, whatever, Real Madrid, whatever. They're not nice guys. We're far too kind, really and truly. And we're not kind to ourselves. I do think we played with a handbrake yesterday. I do think you've got to have that healthy respect for Bayern Munich. But I think there was a tiny bit too much respect for them. And as I said, they've got great players, man. And again, defensively, you've got to be spot on. That first goal is terrible. From when the cross has come in from the right-hand side to Benjamin White's inability to stop the cross, to when the cross has come in, Declan Rice is unaware, Tomiyasu's flat-footed, Martinelli, it's the second game in the week, really. You did the same against Aston Villa. You've not followed your runner. And I'm not here to blame anyone, because there's not a single player's fault as to why we're not where we are. It's a team thing. But these are the margins that you can't afford to switch off with. Our players look burnt out physically and mentally. There's a lack of real individual quality in that Stardust. We didn't know whether to stick or twist in that. And ultimately, these ingredients serve as a mixture into the cocktail pause of as to why we're at the Champions League. And it's been a terrible month so far. We just have to get back on it. There's 6 games left to somewhat salvage stuff. Again, Manchester City have gone out the champs, so that's going to give fuel to their fire for the Premier League campaign. We've got to get on with it, really. And I do think we engineer our own issues. I keep saying it. We're not going to get to where this football club needs to get to until you address midfield. And I know there's some physical factors kind of relaying into what we've said, but, and I'm not saying it would have worked, but you've got Fabio Vieira, 30-odd million £. You've got Tomiyasu. You've got a bunch of men on the bench, and you're not drawing for them. Tomiyasu and Jorginho were 2 of the better players I felt yesterday, but it's irrelevant. If 2 players had good games, what's the other 9 saying? Or the people that come off the bench? Martinelli, crap. Saka, crap. Jesus, extremely frustrating. Havertz, anonymous. Odegaard, you was kind of anonymous as well. Jorginho, one of the better performers. Declan Rice, out of your depth. I don't think Gabriel and Saliba had too much to do, but yeah, not really much there. And we just need some different options, man. I love this inverted fullback stuff, but we need some attacking fullbacks. We need a central midfielder or 2. We definitely need a winger, whether they're going to start games or come off the bench with a bit of pace. And fans can lie to themselves, and say, oh, we don't need a striker like some people. If you think we don't need a striker, you're kidding yourselves. And also with that, we need to be able to create chances for strikers, because there's been games, West Ham at home, we've created a million chances, not put the ball in the back of the net. But there's also been some games like yesterday, a striker we could have had Harry Kane and he would have been anonymous. But there's been games where there's been minimal opportunities, and you just wish if there was one striker that could just do something for us. Again, this football thing is filled, football is filled with romantic moments, and there's a lot of romance with, some of the players and their history signing for Arsenal, what Arteta is doing, the Lenders, etc. But we're at the point of the season where it's just ugly, where it's just results. And we've shown we've got an inability to do that. We've got to start again with Wolves. Wolves are probably looking at us like a wounded animal. And again, then you start getting into this Mikel Arteta out crap. And again, I speak for the fans that have balanced opinions. If you've got balance and logic and you think Mikel Arteta is not the guy, and if you've got balance and logic and you think he is the guy, fair enough. But you've got Arteta sexuals who suck him off more than Mia Khalifa and rate this guy to the high heavens and don't ask questions. And then you've got people that, are very fickle, in my opinion. Arteta out, this, that, and the other. We're behaving like the man ain't done nothing good for us. Since the man's walked in, we've gone from back-to-back eighth to being angry of going out of the Champions League to Bayern Munich. And it's been a closer encounter. Fundamentally, we've gone out, but it's been a lot closer, really and truly. So there's a lot of building blocks. And I think there's a lot of question marks for Mikel Arteta. I think you rely on players that are not good enough. I think you've been naive in how you've assembled the squad. I think you've ran the players into the ground. Don't think we have enough stardust. Ultimately, everything I praise or critique has to come down to the manager. And if I've got big praise for him, then when things go left, I can't just sit here and blame the players, really. And the players will have to learn from this and look back from the first leg where you've conceded 2 stupid goals. And in the last 3 games, again, I'm not blaming any individual player. But you look at Benjamin White's chance in the first leg. You look at Trossard against Aston Villa. You look at Martinelli yesterday. Goals change games. It changes dynamics where we would have been. So it's all a learning curve, people. And you would have seen me make a series of tweets. I said, no excuses. It feels like crap, but we're on a long journey across 2 legs. We saw the level we are at and how far we have to go. Not going to lie, I hate our fans at times because there's rarely a middle ground. Some are overdoing it because it's our first time back here in a time. They sound like losers. And some simply are doing too much because anger is taking them somewhere, people. And then with the Arteta sexuals, I've said you can believe in Arteta without being dishonest. You know, he behave like he's Jesus and he turns water to wine. He is not free from criticism. He has not earned that right. Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Arsene Wenger, Conte, Jose were not free from criticism. So the man doesn't deserve not to be asked questions. He's managing a massive football club like Arsenal. He's done a lot good. The balance of things have been good. But like the players on the pitch, I think Mikel Arteta has engineered his own issues. You can't stand in the rain with no jacket or umbrella and complain you're wet. And that's what we keep doing year in, year out, whether it's betting on players that have issues with injuries, whether it's relying on players with form. And we've seen it, you know, for the vast majority of the season, bar December and now, we've been ticking over. And take nothing away from us because we've earned the right to win. We've been doing well. But where you look at our midfield, the lack of plan Bs, running players into the ground, the lack of strikers, over-reliance on Bukayo Saka, you know, not really being able to rotate players amicably. It's almost been like when that's happening, it's like you've got a hole in your roof and the sun's been shining. Now, obviously, when the sun's shining, you could get away with it. When it rains, you see the issues, people. And for me, at times, it's like Arteta has a weird cult-like following around him, really. If you praise him to high heavens, as I've said there, when things go wrong, there should be healthy discourse. Key word, healthy discord. And again, Arteta out brigade versus Arteta sexuals is 2 sets which are completely dishonest fans. Shout out to the middle ground warriors, man. We're at where we're at. So, yeah, we can close that. What else have we got? Beyond the obvious, going out. Beyond the obvious of going out, the lack of play from central areas annoyed me and it keeps annoying me. We will not get to where we need to get to until we get another 6 as backup for Rice and another 8. They marked, you know, you look at that Bayern Munich game, they really done a number on us on not allowing us to really play from central areas. Even when you look at Thomas Tuchel's comments before it, you know, you lock down Benjamin White getting forward, you mark Odegaard out the game, you kick Saka from pillar to post. We're not really going to be saying much, in my opinion. And as I said, I'll die on the hill once again. Until we sign 2 midfielders, 1 as a minimum, we cannot get to where we need to get to. It's a fallacy. And to be fair, you know, we got bantered for finishing 8th, going out of the Europa League to Villarreal and Olympiacos. Now we're getting bantered for losing 3-2 to Bayern Munich, which we shot ourselves in the foot. So there's a lot of positives. Unfortunately, though, we're out of the competition, which is all that matters, people. And once again, you could say this is the worst Bayern team in years. Bayern could end up on 78 points. They won the league last year with 71. It is still fucking Bayern Munich. So you can't write things off or write anyone off. I still retain faith in the manager, but it is what it is because there's good things. Apparently, Real Madrid's coaching staff studied how we defended against Manchester City as a reference point. And even, I know we're not Real Madrid, beyond the obvious, people, like, that's the mentality I want to see because Real Madrid, they obviously can batter teams, be on the front foot. But when things are not going there well, they take their punches and they know they'll exploit. If you don't shoot, you don't score. Odegaard had 1 shot in the first 15 seconds of the second half. After that, we only had 1 more shot. You add that in, you had Martinelli's chance. You had one where Odegaard forced to save from Manuel Neuer. It's about 3-4 shots. It's not enough to defeat a juggernaut in Bayern Munich, and it's definitely not enough to get to the latter stages of the Champions League. The captain, Odegaard, said, I'm very disappointed. It's sour. Yes, this one is heavy. We really wanted to do something really big in this tournament here and felt that we had good opportunities. Over 2 games, it is very even and it could go either way. So it's sad that it ends like this. It could have, but fine margins went to the more experienced team because they engineered that. We have a big game on Saturday, as Arteta said, so there's no excuses, people. It's a tie of very small margins, but how many times are we going to say this? We've said this before. We had 2 shots in the second half. They had 11. Last time I checked, you know, you look at Jurgen Klopp, Conte, Sir Alex Ferguson, Mikel Arteta, Eric Ten Hag, insert any manager. They've all got different philosophies, different ways of playing, want to do different things. Fundamentally, what is the common thing they all have to do? They have to keep balls at the back of the net for their team. They have to put balls in the back of the opponent's net. We don't shoot, we don't create, we do not score. And these things have been there. We can lie to ourselves and sit there, and rightly so, you know, we have got multiple goal scorers. We are one of the highest scoring teams in Europe and the Prem. But it's a fallacy. We don't have a proven goal scorer. We don't have enough options. When Saka has an off day, we're fucked, pardon my language. This is a fallacy. It's romantic in one sense, but at this point of the season, it starts to get ugly. And how many times are we going to learn this lesson? Big up Saka, but, you know, you're going to have to hold that and hug that L from yesterday as well, people. I think Hargreaves is bang on the money. The game was there for them to win. They just needed a bit more belief. We didn't believe we could hang with these dons. It is what it is. I ain't going to read this, but, you know, long story short, you know, inside the world of football, they're loving what Arsenal are doing. And I don't think you can sit here and lie. We are developing something special. Whether the fruits of our labor will bear something and we'll win Prems and Champs, or if Arteta's the guy to get us over the line, these are very different conversations. But we're in a healthy stage. Now we're at that stage. Do we keep kicking on or do we stagnate? And I think the biggest thing with Arteta, beyond the obvious, you've got the same thing Wenger had. You've got a reliance in crap players, or let me be respectful. It's not crap. Players that can't do the job. Like, there's just too much romance behind it. There's not enough ugliness. And Arteta does have that ruthlessness in him because you've done it on occasion. So it is what it is. Arteta said, we haven't played in the competition for 7 years. We haven't been in this position for 14 years. There's a reason for it, and we want to do everything. We have to learn it. It takes years to make it happen for every club. If you look at that, it's true. It's true. But again, there's a degree of what if. Big up Thomas Tuchel, because he's been nothing but complimentary for us. But as I always say, experience can be overstated. It can never be overrated. He then bigged us up, people, and said we're basically an elite team and stuff like that. I don't really want to hear that, because I don't think we're an elite team. We're making inroads to becoming such, but there you have it. Rice has said, I'm hurting. I came into this game full of hunger, passion, and desire. I wanted to get over the line for this club, and so did all the players as well. You could see it in everyone. Everyone was so hungry. I can't fault my players for lacking commitment, but there's just not that extra stuff in them. Big up Tom Canton, because again, you know, people look at the money we've spent, which is right. Big money's been spent. Arteta is, well, not that there's been many, but Arteta has had the most free reign of any post-Arsene Wenger manager. So for me, when you couple in that, the fact that he's been allowed to make certain decisions, he's the manager, not the head coach, you know, and we rate him so much, you have to hold yourself accountable, people. And I'm not saying Tom, but in general, this is what I mean by you can't do the Arteta out thing without balance. You can't do the Arteta can do no wrong thing. You know, again, it's Arsenal Football Club. I don't know what's going on there. He also said, I think we were better than them and we had a lot of moments of dominance, but that spark around the box is what you need around the box in these ties. And Arteta, you've shown me you're a great coach. You can study up an opponent. You can do so much things to collectively stifle an opposition or go toe-to-toe, which was the case in the Bayern Munich game. But I also think you need to learn from Arsene Wenger and maybe Pep. We don't have that healthy randomness. Maybe it's because of the players' abilities, but we ain't got a player that's just going to dribble past 20 players. Exaggeration, but you get the point and smash it in or hit it from 30 yards or say, I'm running the show. We just ain't got that. And in the champs, you need that, people. You know, it's always going to be a crisis when Arsenal don't win. Our last 3 games, we've drawn with Bayern Munich, we've lost to Bayern Munich, and we've lost to Aston Villa. We've got Wolves away on Saturday, we've got Chelsea, we've got Spurs, we've got it all to do. So we can either cry like little babies or we get on with it, really and truly. The dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. And I do believe, once again, it's the 3rd season in a row we crumble in April. Arteta, you've been here long enough. So when you, how you look that follow me on a regular basis, you've heard me say on a numerous amount of occasions, that excuse of having the finished squad, for someone that I rate in Arteta, you're smart, you're innovative, you've got great foresight. If this was your first year, I could understand it. However long you've been here now, it's unacceptable, really. It's unacceptable. It's not sustainable for the same 13, 14 odd players. And here we are. We're saying the same things over and over again. And you look at the minutes played as well, people, of certain individuals. Again, the squad is not trusted. And I'm not saying everybody needs to get a game for no reason, by the way, people. It's just the players we rely on get injured all the time. That means you're running other players into the ground. It's a madness. Jorginho said, he was one of the better players, you need not feel sorry for yourself. Look at the good things that we've done. Be proud of it. Learn from mistakes and experience. We need to be ready. We need to put our heads up because there's still a lot to play for. Anyone that's crying and feeling sorry for themselves needs to cut from the team, if I'm honest with you. There's 6 games left of the season. You got Wolves away, Chelsea at home, Spurs away, Bournemouth at home, United away, which we don't travel well to Old Trafford. And the season will probably be wrapped up by then. You'd imagine we batter Everton. But it's all to play for. Well, to a sense, people. So it is what it is, man. Mikel Arteta, what have you said in your press conference, man? Let's go over this, people. Obviously, very sad and disappointed with the final result. It was a tie of small margins. In the first leg, we conceded 2 very poor goals. To be fair, when you look at the Europa League, half the damage was done in that as well. And psychologically, Porto at home, Bayern Munich at home, Porto away, Bayern Munich away. I think there's a lot of psychological comparisons to be done there, but it's almost like you need to get your feet wet to understand that. So yeah, people, and that has a big effect in the tie. We were still alive, came here. I'm really proud of the players, how they stood up, the way they tried to play. I'm proud of how they stood up, not how they tried to play, what they tried to do, especially in the first half. It was a game you could see either an error or an individual or a magic moment that would decide the tie. The margins are so small. We didn't defend our box well at all in that action, and we ended up throwing everything and trying everything and not having enough to score a goal and having the option to go through in the tie. I must admit, that last sentence, Arteta, we've said that in the last 3 games now. You and the players got to eradicate that, or it's going to get worse. On concerns of the performance, credit to the opponent as well. It's very difficult to break opponents down, especially when they play the manner that they play, which they never do. But we had our moments, especially in the first half. In the second half, we struggled a bit more to keep that rhythm, that momentum. Is that because of fitness? Is that because we got scared? What was said at halftime? With the changes we tried in a different way, they are never games with big chances. Very rare to see at this stage of the Champions League. So why did we defend for that goal in the way we did? Well, it's the moment to be next to our players, to be thankful of the journey that we've been involved with together. Unfortunately, at the end of today, it is painful, but we have to learn from it. We gave a quote-unquote good account of ourselves, returning back to the champs, but it leaves a sour taste in your mouth, man, if I'm completely honest. On tiredness or belief, he said, I don't think it was about belief. Obviously, the goal put them in a very different position. They kept adapting and making changes to defend even deeper, but I saw the players were really willing, trying their best. It wasn't enough. That was true to get the magic moment that is needed in this competition to unlock it, to make something happen. When the game requires us to open that door, we didn't have it, and that's why we're out. Can't imagine you've got any reason to leave Bayern Munich, but Joshua Kimmich, let's go, man. 300k a week, London. Let's go. Kai Havertz, chat to your boy. Only if the game was too soon in our development. We haven't played in the competition for 7 years. We haven't been in this position for 14 years. There's a reason for it. We wanted to do everything fast forward, super quick in one season. And after we had the capacity and quality to be in the semi-finals, because the margins have been very small, but those margins sometimes are coming from something else that maybe we don't have yet. We have to earn it. When you look historically, all the clubs to get to certain stages, it took them 7, 8, some of them 10 years to do it. Today, that's not going to make us feel better, but that's for sure. On how we bounce back, I wish I had today the words for the players to make them feel better. You can't. They have to use this pain to drive them. In the same way when you missed out for top 4, you went and got it last year. When you missed out on the Premier League title, I hope you can do one better this year, even though it doesn't look like such. And when you're in this similar scenario in the Champions League next year, God willing, make sure you take these lessons, because the biggest lessons is fine margins. You need to control them. We need individual brilliance. The margins for error, 3 piss poor goals across the 2 legs. Goals are never nice to concede. They could always happen, but there you have it. But did we attack well? Did we defend well? Did we control the midfield well across 2 legs? If we didn't do any of these things, then we can't be having any complaints about not going through. They can be filled with pride. You haven't embarrassed yourself in the Champions League since we've returned, but it is a case of what's if, and it does feel like we've shot ourselves in the foot, especially in the big games. I look at Bayern Munich, Spurs at home, Chelsea away. We've shot ourselves in the foot in the bigger games. We got away with it with United at the Emirates as well, really and truly. So we need to be a lot more calculated and less emotional. That's one of the next steps for this team. And big up the players, man, because, you know, I can't fault you lot for, you know, I can criticize your performance, but I can't say anyone was lacking in desire and willingness. I don't think anyone hid, but nobody had that great impetus in them. I feel so grateful to be their coach and to work with them every single day. And what they need is that we stand right next to them, give them our support, our love. I'll have to pick it up because on Saturday we have a big game. We're still playing for a Premier League, lol, and I would really want it. We have to show now that we are capable of turning things around. Might be too little too late, but let's go. on whether he was surprised by Bayern's defensive display. You've got Thomas Tuchel, who knows to stink out the place. You're fighting for a semi-finals. You've got experienced players. What are we like? They should let me ask these questions, man. People just asking some dickhead questions, man. Fuck's sakes. Pardon my French. It's frustrating. This is more frustrating than the game. No, because they were very similar at the Emirates, and I mean, they know you're a good attacking side. Why on God's green earth would they open up for you? It does not make sense. You know, why would they want to be slags if they want to be housewives? It don't make sense. No, because they were very similar at the Emirates, and we expected that approach, but they believed that obviously it was the best way to beat us, and we can't complain because when we rocked up at City, we stunk out the joint. Credit to them and congratulate them for sure for what they've done, because they've done it really well. And when there were little margins, they were slightly better than us, and that's why they were through. And that's the case of all the Champions League games at this stage and beyond. So it's a mad thing, man, but it is what it is. And what makes the difference in games like this? There were 3 big moments in the first leg and it didn't go away. That's a big factor. We'll learn from it. Me, the first one, because I'm the maximum responsible for that, and I'll try to be better next season. This is why you're my manager, because your little Arteta sexuals will sit there and not blame you, but you front up to the music. Big up the gaffer. He then said on the pain, yes, it's there and it's not going to go away, certainly tonight, but I can guarantee you by tomorrow, we are fully focused on Wolves and everybody's lifted. Whether we're lifted or not, you have to keep going. The world don't care. Get on with it. Nobody cares. Work harder. Simple. What we still have to play is beautiful. And I said before, it's time to be next to our players. And in this moment, not when you win 10 in a row and a draw. That's easy to prize our players and be behind them and to say really nice things. The moment is now to be next to them. What I will say to the players, you have bounced back from adversity before and you've got no choice but to do it now. It'll be interesting to see how the Prem pans out, because we're out of Europe. City are out of Europe. I mean, Liverpool, they're the comeback kings, but they're probably out of Europe, as much as you can say that about Liverpool. So there you have that, man. It is what it is, people. Declan Rice has spoke. We've already seen this, but he said, we're gutted. We're really distraught. It's just difficult to put into words. Over the course of 2 legs, we had a great chance to go 2-0 up in the first game. And then we had an uphill task because we went behind 2-1, but we managed to bring it back to 2-2. We came here after Sunday and we were really refreshed and ready. We saw a reaction in the first half, especially. Okay. We played with confidence, but we're just lacking that cutting edge. But again, it comes down to the boxes, and we can see the goal, which is unlike us. Last 3 games, it's been very much like us, but generally I agree. And it is now go out with a header like that in a game that didn't really have much in it. That's the most disappointing thing, to be honest. I'm hurting. We already read this, so I won't bore you lot with that, people. But what he did say is, what I take from it is that it's a learning experience. We're a young group. There's a lot of demand and pressure on us now to deliver, and rightly so, because we're good at what we do. This is Arsenal Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we need to stand tall and be counted for. And that now goes back to Saturday. We've got Wolves away, and that's where our big reaction is going to happen. I hope so, man, because I do think we're slipping back into this territory of doing a lot of talking before games, and it's not really matching up. Odegaard has spoken as well, which of the last 3 games, one of the only players I really have time for. We just have to stick together, get back and keep pushing. We can still do something very special, Trials. Every time you get hit, you have to stand up and go again. The key thing is to stand together and lift each other up. Of course, we want to win something. That's been a big goal. We won English Super Cup. It's now time to be shameless, people. All of us are in this together. We're all in this together. It sounds like High School Musical. We win and lose together. We all have an important role now to help each other and lift each other up. I hear that, and you do. But everybody needs to pull their pants up. Anyone who's feeling sorry for themselves, go home. Go home. Anyone feeling sorry for themselves, call their mum and go get a hug. This is football. We're not here to make friends. We're here to win football games. So whether you think you can do it or not, there's your answer. Man up. Hey, sorry for sounding outdated, but man the hell up. And let's keep going. We might never salvage our season, but we're going to go out like some real G's, or we're going to go out like some pussy-os. Choice is you lots, man. Anyways, it's gutting. You know I'm hurting. Said, oh, sorry, we've seen the Rice thing already. So, yeah, that's that. Before we carry on, people, what are you lot saying in the chat, man? That's my therapy session done, man. I personally feel a lot better. Smash the like button, people. Man said they're under therapy. Arsenal choking under pressure. I guess so, man. It was a different kind of choking. Oh, my God. But still. Another in a long line of lame away performances in Europe. It goes back years and years. This is why our pedigree is horrible, man, in Europe. Champions of Europe will never sing that. They shut out Odegaard and we create nothing. It's an open book. You know, Thomas Tuchel said it, but like 2 days before the game, he's like, we know the right-hand side. We didn't learn nothing from Villa. It's about street smartness. Team looking a mental slump. Too many just didn't show up. I think it's a mixture of some people can't show up, won't show up, don't know how to show up, and some men are just not good enough. Some players are hella talented. They just ain't got the mentality. Some man got the mentality, not the ability. Too many players are hot and cold. And I think we're on a good trajectory. We're on a good run. We have got a good team. But the Champions League is a different ball game. And getting the Premier League titles over a serious one, and it's stuttering here, and it's a different ball game in its sense. We've shown we can be competitive. We've shown that we're not going to get embarrassed. But getting over the line, we ain't got that. We're so close, but so far. DG, the last 2 games have shown we need superstars, especially in attack. Boy, how much money, DG, are we going to need to keep giving Arteta? There's been some trophies he can collect en route to major. Community Shield ain't enough. I'm vexed about the Community Shield. Not Community Shield, sorry, the FA Cup. The FA Cup was a big chance of bringing something home. And we've shot ourselves in the foot in the last 2 years where the league's concerned. We were terrible in the Europa League. That's been an issue of Arteta. I think you've managed the latter stages of the Champions League slightly better than in recent years in other European competitions. But there's a lot to learn, man. Big up American Gooner. Arteta and the team under pressure. They need to turn this bad form around quickly. Pressure's a privilege. If you don't want to deal with pressure, leave my beautiful football club alone. And they've shown they can show resilience, because when this project first started and, you know, that when we lost to Brentford or when we had that December, they've shown they can react. And they're going to need to do it now more than ever. Anyone that don't think they can, leave, man. Seriously, leave. And it's an open book. You lock down Odegaard, you lock down Saka. Not that they were amazing. Half the job's done. The Champions League is just about being street smart. It's not about being the better team. We were the better team in 2006. Did we win the trophy? Real Madrid have not necessarily been the better team anytime they've won the Champions League in the latter stages. I don't think they care. Need to keep it moving. I mean, I understand keeping Saka on versus Martinelli because Saka can make things happen, but he could have got hooked as well. But then you got Dons on the bench. In your heart, Arteta don't trust. In your heart, you don't trust none of them, really. Fabio Vieira, you're not coming on. Partey, what's the point? I know there's clearly some fitness issues, but you could have ran him when it looked like Jorginho, one of our better players, looking tired. You know, people can diss Eddie and Nketiah, but you're bringing on a man with 5 minutes. When I see Emil Smith-Rowe come on against Aston Villa, when I see Eddie Nketiah come on against Bayern Munich, the manager's out of ideas. These are not players you've been reliant on in recent weeks. Sell Fabio, that man is not Prem level. We need to sign a proper striker in centre mid and right winger. Otherwise, we're just going to be Vibes FC. I'm sick of this. And the Arteta lovers, Arteta let down Odegaard, the only one trying. We all let down each other, man. But DG, this is the worst buying team. Arteta let our captain down. It might be the worst buying team, but it's still one of the best. This is one of the worst City teams of recent, really. They're playing at probably 70%. They're still bad up people. There was a lot more to give, man. But it's still that, DG, you have more physicality than Fabio. I mean, I got more physicality than for a 5'8" than a lot of tons in this chat. You know what I'm saying? Don't make my back off the shirt. Like you as well. But still, like, really, I hear it. Isaac or your carers would have bagged us a goal in that game. Probably, but I'm very wary of that because they very well could have had chances and not bagged. Really. My CEO keeping my stocks rising. Appreciate that, my dude, man. But unfortunately, it is what it is. American Gooner, one love for the resubscription on Twitch. I'm just not in on this blame game, man. Everybody is together. Like, for me, the foundations are relatively solid at this club, but then again, they're not, because it's a fallacy to expect Kai Havertz, Trossard, Jesus to lead the line. It's a fallacy to just rely on Saka and Martinelli. It's a fallacy to persist with, you know, Jorginho's consistent on the pitch, but his inconsistencies in terms of being available, and the same goes for Thomas Partey. The nucleus of our team are very rarely available. It's a fallacy. And it looks romantic for the large part of the season. But when it gets to the nitty and gritty, boy. And then all these fans saying, sell this player, sell that player. I'm not saying you're wrong, but, you know, a lot of Arsenal fans want to sell about 10 players. That's going to, and I'm not saying there's not 10 players that could leave, but that's going to reset the whole thing again, essentially, you know, because then you're going to have to bring 10 players in. Then you're going to have to let them all gel in and whatnot. I think people need to, as much as it's difficult, chill out with the emotions. Arteta needs to learn to rotate the team using the squad. Team really looks out of it. I agree and disagree. I think he does, but at the same time, there's a lot said for stability and playing the same players. I think he needs better players that you're going to trust. And at the end of the day, he bought these guys. There's not a single player, whether Arteta bought them or not, that's not one of his players. So he has to live or die by that. To be honest, until you sort out foundations, no chance you can build a great house. We need more players. I'm very balanced, but Arteta sexuals and dumb extremes of out, I just have zero time for. I'm with you with that. But I always say I don't tell people what to think, just think. If you're applying knowledge and you're thinking and being balanced and you want Arteta to stay or gone, then I'm not speaking to you lot. Havertz has been so useless. For the large part, he's been all right. Yesterday, very disappointing. And if you sign a midfielder and a striker, obviously Havertz can be part of the squad, but he's in the strongest lineup. We're lying to ourselves. Jorginho should move back to being a bench player for us. Don't get me wrong, he was good, but he doesn't have the creativity. We need new midfielder in the side. He ain't got the legs, essentially. So it's peak, man. Have we seen, look at Saka on the right, good right back, good Saka, bad left back, bad Martinelli. But when we had Tommy, Martinelli was better. Boy, I don't know, man. Big up DG. Disappointing yesterday. There was an issue with our attacking patterns. We felt too methodical. Facts. I look at Odegaard in these games and think he could be more dangerous on the left. We need other targets, man, because, you know, it's if they're going to mark Saka and Odegaard and they're our two best players, then cool, their focus is over there. What are the other players doing with the blind spots? I don't know, man. I'm just a football fan. I don't know, man. I'm not Mikel Arteta with the players. Both Martinelli and Saka fake pump too much. Fake going forward and play the ball backwards. Easy to read for defense. Martinelli more than Saka, but still, I hear that. Are our wingers probably too choreographed in their play? Because as I said, I think Arteta's developed a great system in all aspects and whatnot. But we need that healthy bit of randomness, man. When I'm a guy in America, I wish I knew. Oh, you're talking to Let's Activate. Big up you lot, man. Rice is not a 6, really. He's more a 6 than an 8. And for me, if I'm honest, the midfield's too open. Rice is deserted. He's somewhat out of his depth. He's deserted. We're expecting him to do everything. There's too many holes, man. Need to be far more ruthless at this part of the season. Have to be more clinical and savvy. Trust. We need better players, simple as Zini, El Nene, Jesus, and Ketia. Bring in quality and experience like Sane, Kimmich, Osimhen, or Tony, Brahim Diaz. A couple of them names you can't really diss our players. I'm standing behind Jesus. I'm keeping Zinchenko. Obviously, offers come, but you lot are squad players. Nketiah, you need to go. You need to be sold. El Nene's not really a thing. He's just here for vibes. Big him up. But yeah, man. I don't know if you missed much. Probably, man. I was doing my therapy session. Is that Yokeres, Elise, Douglas Luiz Diamande is needed in the summer? Elise, could you stay fit? And then, yeah. Zini's a liability, man. But different horses for different courses. I think Arteta is the guy, but he needs to learn quickly because he can be stubborn, needs to at times allow players freedom to do their thing. As a manager, you need a healthy bit of stubbornness, but it's give and take. And for me, ultimately, you're just doing the Wenger thing of relying on shit guys. And I feel so harsh to say that, but there's a couple men, unfortunately, that are just not built for this. And Saka does need competition, arguably needs a rest. There are at least 10 players that need to go and be replaced by significant upgrades in each case. If we want to go to another level, not going to happen. I hear it, man. Arteta ain't the guy. He'll build the team and the next manager will win straight away. Avoided all of Mikel's mistakes. He ain't the guy. Sell Zini, in my opinion. He can fetch a good price. Sell all the loans and that used to invest in a quality centre mid. I'm broken, DG. Since the Villa game, I've been in a bad state. I'm more peed off with the Villa game, if I'm honest with you, because, yeah, sell players I would sell. Obviously, there's a lot of factors. You got, will they have offers? Will you be able to bring in players? But if we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, I don't care what no one tells me. I'm keeping Gabriel Jesus. I'm not into this selling stuff. There's a use for him. Who would I actually sell? Again, I would love to keep Tierney, but we're at. Tierney needs to cut. Eddie Nketiah needs to cut. Nelson, One Love. Who else needs to go? Lokonga cut. Tavares cut. Between Jorginho and Partey, there's a reality you can keep both of them, but they probably need to leave for us to sign those new midfielders. So one of the two, if not both, if you're not going to wake up and sign both. Havertz, rotation option guy. You can stay. Zini, if there really is 40-odd million offers, then it is what it is in that regards. Ramsdale, we need to let you go to bring some cash in. And it's just about bringing in some quality. We undoubtedly need another top-class winger or a winger that has different ingredients. Someone that's a speed demon. Someone that can put fear into the opponents, if I'm honest with you, man. We're too lopsided, bro. We're too lopsided. Like, the last season was the first season we looked good down the left and the right. Now we're back to just, if it's not down the right, then really and truly there isn't nothing. And there's not another creative body for Odegaard to cook with. That's probably why we're relying on him to drop deep and overcompensate to a degree. Do need probably about 7 players. I think we need about 3 players to improve our starting 11, but then it's about marrying the squad. One step at a time, Gooners hold the fort. Deluded has a much better outlook than the other side of the Duma Arsenal YouTuber community. You can tell the ones who've never kicked a ball ain't FIFA. B, you're right, but at the same time, I do think a lot of YouTubers and nothing more than Arsenal, a lot of people are dishonest, man. A lot of people lie because they're twerking and, pardon my language, sucking dick so that they can get employed by the club and go to press conferences and all of this, so they're dishonest. And then you've got the people that do too much on the other scale with this guy's crap and nothing's good about our club, because obviously YouTube is about sensationalizing content and just moving mad, and that gets clicks and ultimately that pays your bills. However, people need to pay their bills and feed their kids. That's their job, innit? Do what you need to do, but both sides are dishonest. But that's what they're doing, man. Let them do their thing, man. I think Arteta's shown he can be ruthless, but you're ruthless to the wrong guys at times, man. Haven't been liking the Martinelli slander recently. I can't lie. Certain men are moving the criticism over to the left-hand side to dodge Saka criticism. Both deserve criticism, and I hate doing it, but it's all true. We're all in this together, if I'm honest. Look at Madrid. They have difference makers and ruthlessness. That's the guide point. They've got the experience. They've got the ability of the players. Even their young players learn quickly. There's a lot we could learn beyond the obvious, but you have to get your checkbook out. You either do what they do and sign these players early, which of recent, where you look at the Jude Bellingham fee, Tchouameni fee, Camavinga fee, they come with a lot of money, you know, but it's not just them. It's a Rudiger on a free transfer. It's Alaba on a free transfer. It's serious experience dons, you know, even guys like Carvajal and Vasquez and people that you're not going to write home about per se. So yeah, man, I can't believe our fan base is turning on the manager for going at the Champions League at the quarterfinal stage. I mean, you can't control what people think. Just let them think, innit? Next season is the deciding season for Arteta, in my opinion. Excuses have been run out. 1-0 for the rebuild, and again, we've given taken my emotion away for it. Done okay in the Champions League, you know, still challenging for the league. You've shown that you can rebuild the football club and the project, and there's many things that other teams in the world are probably envious of. Now the conversation is, can you get us to the glory days? Can you get us a champs? Can you get us a prem? Can you, you know, get us some trophies? So yeah, I think we re-signed Reece Nelson because we knew we couldn't get a winger in. We need, pardon me, another one that needs to cut. The only thing that's going to help the English boys is the homegrown ruling. But if there really is 30 million for Reece Nelson, go. If you could, but Edu, I think, regardless of even if he signed a prime Lionel Messi, if he gets 40 million for Eddie and Nketiah, that is the biggest thing I've seen Edu do. So if you get 30 million for Reece Nelson and 40 for Eddie and Nketiah, my maths is poor. That's 70 million. Before you talk about what you could get for Ramsdale, Tierney, Tavares, Lokonga, you know, even the young Patino, Mika Berev, probably even Arthur Okonkwo, who apparently Wrexham want to keep permanently, we start to see things. Crumbling once is bad enough. If it keeps happening, then it's a pattern, which at the point you have to look at the man in charge, of course. And that's one thing about our club. Arsenal fans, some of you are here that are way older than me. Our club just crumbles in Europe. We have not got a strong European pedigree. Arsenal fans, young and old, whether it's been Europa, Cup Winners' Cup, Champions League, is filled with stress and pain. And it's unfortunate. You know, what I would say is, I hope they show the players the Invincible documentary when we went out of the Champions League. And, you know, Thierry Henry, I'm sure we played Liverpool, he did a madness. There's always a silver lining. You know, let's try to do something. You guys are both right. Madrid bought Vasquez and had Nacho on the pitch and still won. It's a combination of Arteta doing odd things like Havertz in midfield. He needs to give up on the Havertz in midfield. I'd love to wake up and Havertz looks like Schweinsteiger, Kimmich, any sick German midfielder, but it's not that. Let's be brutally honest as well, yeah? Obviously, no disrespect to the players that have come into the squad at the time, at the end of the year. Havertz, if Jesus and their man are not injured in their forms there, you're not seeing Havertz up front on a consistent basis. You tried to make him a midfielder, it didn't bang. We know he's a multifunctional player. I think there's a use for Havertz, but it's not going to get us over the line. And it sounds mad to say that about a Champions League winner, but it's not going to take us to where we need to. There's too much romance. It would have been lovely if Havertz starts to look like the player that he was at Leverkusen. If Zinchenko could improve defensively, if Gabriel Jesus could score goals. 2 of the 3, I think I would more likely keep than the names I've said here. But it's too Disney Channel-esque. There's too much love and drama around it. We're at the point in the season where it's just ruthless. And in many ways, like life, football is so ruthless and so horrible. It's ugly. And because it's so ugly, it's beautiful. It's just a case of winning or losing. And the thing is, Real Madrid have that confidence, a lot of it through different factors, that they can do things. And even that spreads off to the young players. And obviously, Real Madrid are the envy of the world because you know what they come with. You know how to carry yourself. That's what we need to be looking at. Why the small margins never fall to our advantage to the point it becomes a pattern? It's down for the manager, really. We have to ask the manager, really, because it never falls to us. It probably did fall to us against Man United at the Emirates, but it doesn't fall to us. Maybe it's because of the players. Maybe it's because we're so focused on, you know, everything, that the minimal things we whatever. And it feels like I'm not going to accuse the players or the manager or the fans for saying that, but too many times now, before we even became title challengers or back in the Champions League, it's like we're too happy to. Some fans are too happy to concede that it looks even in terms of possession and shots and all of that, and then we say, "Oh, but the fine margins." So how do you think trophies are won? Do you think every game that City play in the Premier League when they win the trophies, or when Arsenal have done it or anyone else, there hasn't been times where everything's been going wrong and they've just got it over the line? When we're good, we're really good. When we're terrible, we're really good, man. We're really bad, sorry, and there's no in between. Arteta is making progress, but it is what it is in that regards, man. Henry was watching that performance, people. So was Arsene Wenger. Will Saka ever get a rest? DG Arteta just burns him out. He does need it, but where's this rest coming from? If I'm honest, you're playing against Wolves. At the end of the day, no matter what their form was saying, Bayern didn't need to do all that much. They've got European pedigree, composure, style, mindset to roll us. We don't. Game over. There you have it. I lost my rabbit as a kid, but my mate's dad told me at the time, accept that it happened and get on with it to heal, but get on with life. No more crying. There you have it, man. It's going to take us a few seasons in the champs to confidently start raving about going all the way. Hopefully next season we pull off the spectacular in the Champions League, and this is a lesson well taken. The football gods will have to bless us to a high level for us to be serious in that, man. But in terms of the variables we can control, we ain't been controlling them, man. In this moment, in a time when the pressure is on Arteta and Arsenal can't handle it, and it's a shame, Arteta is bringing on players that gave up on him. Why would you play Eddie? Eddie won't care or stick to any plan. He ain't getting minutes. Same with Reece or whoever. I think that's harsh to say they've given up on him. And even if they've given up on the manager, you're playing in the Champions League. And I'm not being funny. Eddie and Nketiah, you might never kiss a Champions League game again. So you owe it to yourself. I hope we smash Spurs. They didn't know what to do, man. They wanted to take it slow and build up to an equalizer, but it's not like that. This is a common problem with us. When we need urgency in big games, where is it? Because we're too emotional. You know, we're too emotional at times. Be patient, Arsenal fans. You need years in Europe before you can develop champions mentality. Your team is still young. Best of luck from a Madrid fan. I hear that. And it's a learning curve, man. It's a learning curve. There's still room to improve, but yeah, man. And for me, the most frustrating thing is, take nothing away from Bayern Munich. It's like, it's a thing where, how can I make it make sense to you lot? And like I said, take nothing away from what Bayern Munich did or whatever. But if it was a thing where a lot of the things or a lot of the negatives we're not talking about, and we went toe to toe, and Harry Kane did something great, Sane did something great, Kimmich did something great. Sometimes you just hold your hands up. It is what it is. But it feels like there was more to give across all aspects, and there's too many regrets, not just in the game in Germany, but away from home. And this is why, you know, we're probably more suited to fighting for a Premier League title than a knockout competition like the champs, because you get obviously we've got 6 games now, but you get another chance. There's always a tomorrow kind of thing. We can accept reality, but should never be getting on the players' backs too tough. We're supporters, always forward. It's true, and I'm not saying you, George, but I do think some fans, yeah, when we're winning, it's fine to proclaim these players to high heavens. But then when we're doing bad, you can't ask questions. And I think that's the problem in itself. We win games. These players are the best thing since sliced bread. We lose. They're all terrible. And when you find out where Partey was just there for the vibes, man. DJ, it's frustrating that Tuchel said exactly what he's going to do and stop our right-hand side. And we still didn't change. Even simple things like move Saka to the left, or maybe Odegaard play with Martinelli more. And again, these are solutions for Arteta, but I think he's too much on the collective. I think Arteta is too systematic. And he needs to find that healthy bit of randomness. Wenger needs to chat to him, man. We ain't got any X factor moment. That's the main separator from us on the next level. That is true. To get us over the line, we should get Frankie de Jong next summer. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately, my boy. For me, anyone who has played less than 1,000 minutes should be brought up to Arteta and asked what the plan is. Use or sell. Midfield look like babies last night. Arteta can't win no Champions League. He throws away domestic cups. The players are not battle hardened to play knockout football. It's simple deductions. Arteta ain't a winning coach. It's okay. Damn. A lot of money has been slapped on potential squad players that probably shouldn't be. Havertz, Vieira, Zinchenko, Jesus. It's crazy, man. Arteta lacks the ability to think creatively when his tactics are nullified in the game. He doesn't let the players express himself. I agree. I think they bought Vieira as a potential backup for Saka. Bro, but you're not you're not a wing. This is the thing with Fabio Vieira. You're not a winger like a Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva. Not necessarily the biggest and most robust, but they can affect the game. You know, you're not going to play ahead of the 10, in the 10 ahead of Odegaard. You had opportunities in the 8, not a lot, but you haven't grabbed it. I don't think you're physically right now ready for the Premier League. Injuries have played a part of your consistencies. I wouldn't give up on Vieira. Like, out of all the guys that ain't really proven their worth, I would persist with him. But in the summer, I think all options should be on the table. If there's an opportunity to persist with him, if there's an opportunity to go on loan, if there's an opportunity to get our money back, everything should be on the table. Jorginho can stay, but it's evident Mikel's tired of Partey can go. Well, address the midfield, man. Address the midfield. It's getting long now. It's boring now, man. Like, it's how much times are we gonna watch the same movie and want a different ending? And for me, this season, the most annoying it's in weird ways, it's a positive, but we've shot ourselves in the foot. I still maintain, and I don't think any team that's beaten us or taken points of us, they're not going to care. And once again, I'm not saying this to say Arsenal are the biggest and baddest team ever in the world, but we've shot ourselves in the foot. We ain't been outplayed too many times this season. I don't think we was outplayed against Bayern Munich. Again, fine margins, all of that jazz went against us. Only time I think we've been outplayed off the top of my head. Fulham away, we was terrible. West Ham in the League Cup was terrible. Other than that, we shot ourselves in the foot, which needs to be eradicated. We've shown we're a more calculated side, but we're still a bit too emotional. And I don't want us to lose our emotions. Football is an emotional game. It's how you channel it. Emotional for me, show has been thrown out within 30 minutes to an hour. Move on. Problem is, if you're selling, you got to replace. Still no centre back to replace, but we're heavy on the right. Never sell your morals for anything, because this man upstairs who judge money should be based on what you think. I hear that. You can't manufacture mentality of ruthlessness. You have to go through the grind or buy it from other clubs, and they ain't cheap. Facts. Any winger in mind to bring in? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, man. I would take a chance on Nico Williams, but he's a young man. If Pedro Neto could stay fit, Sane would be lovely, reactionary based on the last game. The dream would be Vinicius or Rodrigo, but as I said, a dream, or Yalmal from Barcelona. Go and find someone, man. We always say if you can't buy them, make them, innit? So go make some duns. To a point, Real Madrid made Vinicius and Rodrigo. They kind of struggled at times. They made them. Arteta has to get us over the hump. We can't get knocked out of any cups. A trophy is needed at this club. DG, what do you think is the next move going forward? Right now, lick our wounds and go again. In the summer, significant investment in central midfield, out wide and up front. Then it's about depth. But in terms of bringing in players, it's all a myth right now. We've got 6 games left of the Premier League. Football heritage and mentality. Exactly. You either do the Madrid thing or you do the Liverpool battle heart, because Liverpool haven't always had star players, but there's been something in the water there. Or you do the Atletico Madrid mentality monsters, or you just have players that are cut from a different cloth. We don't have any of that. Looking at it objectively, our players and manager are both fairly inexperienced. The only way to gain experience is by going through these things. It's natural, which is true, C1. Nori's a baller as well. He's technical, but can also defend. I'm doing a preview show for Wolves away with a Wolves fan, so I'm going to ask him about that. We can't be sat here getting ecstatic because we reached the quarterfinals. We've been here, done it for decades. What we haven't done is go all the way and go to the max, not the minimum. That's the truth, and that's where it comes to balance. Respectfully, there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are younger than me at 29. This is the best they've seen Arsenal, so their standards are kind of on the floor. But then I think there's people that are doing the unrealistic thing. Should have got Telemans for free. I like Telemans, but would he really have made a difference yesterday? Probably. There's importance in putting players in positions where they feel comfortable. Players that have angle bias slows down our build-up play. Martinelli needs a centre mid that can play the ball first time. I said it in August, and again, it hasn't happened. And I'm not saying Xhaka would have changed our fortunes, but I wanted to keep going at Xhaka for this transitional period, going back into the champs. It is what it is. Elise would be lit, but like Eze would be lit, but like Elise, he can't get fit, man. Isaac and Pedro Neto with Eze would be a dream, but I think it's realistic, don't you? Do you mean unrealistic? Pedro Neto going to cost stupid money. Eze going to cost stupid money. Isaac going to cost stupid money. I mean, I think we could prize, if we found this stupid money to put on the table, I think we could grab them, but is it going to be value for money? Isaac, they're going to ask for 60, 70, maybe with the way to 100. Pedro Neto, you're hearing 50, 60. Eze, they're going to ask for a madness. He's been capped by his club now. And the Premier League clubs are getting richer. So long gone are the days of bullying the smaller teams. Harry Maguire went for stupid money. We bought Declan Rice for stupid money. And there's plenty of other examples. We need players who can forcibly take us to the next level. No shame to these players, but they aren't good enough yet for the next step. Do you think we lack a real superstar clutch player in the team? D. Stevie Wonder could see that, man. Some of them might be it one day, but yeah, 100%. I was watching the game and it made me feel like what I would have done for an Alexis Sanchez or a Cesc Fabregas. I know we didn't win the Champions League, but think about how many times Cesc Fabregas stood up for us in the Champions League, or even Thierry Henry when he basically dragged us to the final, or when we battered into Milan, and there was obviously other players involved as well. We ain't got that. To be fair, people are letting Foden off for going missing yesterday, but I've never been one to do this. Foden and Saka and Palmer. Football's a bit too tribal for me. They're all good players, man. And even that with Foden, Man City are not going to live or die by Phil Foden having a good game. We literally are going to live or die by Saka turning up or not, or it's going to play a point. So that's testament to City, and that's question marks for us. Facts, bro. The one thing what Wenger was a master at is trusting the players to play football. We don't need a team of robots. Systems are good, but sprinkle that with individual brilliance. Like you said lastly there, sprinkle it with individual brilliance. I can't sit here and lie. It is a systematic game or climate that we're in right now. It's not just about individuals, but we now need that healthy randomness. And for Arteta, it's like he's got a plan. Like for me anyways, 99.9% of his team and whatnot, and that other little percentage, he's kind of got to give his team freedom to do random things. Musiala, a great player, good player. Turned up in Germany, was anonymous at the Emirates, but quality player. I'm done with Thomas Partey. Quality player, want to see him, but at the end of the day, like it's long now. We're saying the same things about the same guys every year. I'll keep Odegaard and sell high-paid players like Jesus and Zini to raise funds for next season. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm open to selling Zini. I'm not selling Jesus. If we get certain players in, then this time next year we can contemplate that. But I don't think Odegaard limits Saka, to be fair with you. But I hear that. It's pointless pointing who we should get. Clubs will buy who they want. And I do think, I mean, maybe the club tried to bring in mad players in the summer and we'll never know. But I think it was very naive to go into the Champions League with what we have available and expect anything of real significance, in my humble opinion. On Rice, respect to him, and I won't slander him, but he's not ready to be a 6 in a possession-based team. It's going to have to be 8 until he learns the skill set needed for 6. Do you mean the other way around? I think he's quite at home in the 6. I just think, Declan Rice is not going to give you nothing in the final third beyond a certain point. It's never been him. He's going to have to develop it. And again, there's too much turnaround on the left-hand side. Arteta wants robots, though. He very much only buys system players. I've always disagreed with that because you could define every player as a system player. If you have a Haaland and you're not a possession-based side that's going to lay opportunities on the plate for him, he's not going to score. Every player is a possession-based player. And in the modern game, we need to have a system, and every manager has a system. I know it weren't the same. Wenger had a system. He's not going at a point. He's not going to sign players that are not brilliant technically and ain't got speed of thought and stuff like that. I'm done with Partey in the sense of I love him. Think he's a great player. Want to see him fit. Think he should be playing a lot more. But it's at the point now where how much time are we going to keep saying the same things? We're going to keep saying the same things. I wouldn't even necessarily force him out of the club next season. If he can stay fit, it's great. There has to be a correlation with Thomas Partey last season, being fit for about 40 games, 35 in the Premier League, and us fighting for stuff. And again, there's teething issues. It's a new look pivot in midfield. Xhaka's left. Partey's been demoted, / been injured, / been dropped. Obviously, Odegaard's been carrying it. Declan Rice has brought something, but it's affected stuff, and Arteta hasn't addressed that. Kudus would have been amazing for this football club. I mean, Odegaard did not help Saka in terms of making a midfield run. He'll never do that. I don't agree, but I hear that. DJ, I know we haven't been in the champs for 7 years, but look how many years we're in it before that, and how did we never get over the line? How did Chelsea come along and do it before us? Football gods bless them, man. They'd won it on an absolute greasy thing. I don't know. I really don't know, man. The reason I say he can't play 6 is he isn't remotely comfortable receiving the ball with his back to the opposition. It's not a shock we play a lot slower with him at the 6 compared to Partey at 6. I think Partey is more comfortable at that, but I definitely disagree with Declan Rice, that Declan Rice comment. He might not be sexy on the ball, but 9 times out of 10, and there is criticism, 9 times out of 10, it's been one of the only players effing showing for it and trying to drive for it. He ain't got that juice to play those passes, so I kind of agree with again, but I disagree with that, man. What would you be saying if we slapped 80 to 90 on Paqueta? Probably overpriced, but I think Paqueta would bring a lot to this team. I'm just tired of watching the same movie over and over again. People will say there's still a lot to play for, but we know how it ends. But I just don't know where we go from here. I mean, it's not for us fans to know. The players need to pick themselves up. The manager needs to pick himself up, and we need to go again. Like there's nothing else to it. Like there really is nothing else to it. Like what color is London? It'll always be red, regardless. Never hide in front line. In A's up till we freeze up. What, you're going to say it's white? Lie, fam. We're still above everyone in the table. Lie, man. Big up all the rivals, other club rivals doing up cheerleaders and whatnot. I understand agendas have to agenda, but allow it. It's red. It's red. You know, let's not get it twisted. Who's taking 3 points off us this season in the league? Aston Villa, cool, do your thing. West Ham, Moyes, do your thing. Allow it, man. We love capitulating in April, man. There's no world-class player in our front line. Our fans need to quiet a bit. Rice is different to Partey, but Rice is a 6 where I want to see long-term. DG, would you take Kimmich and Gnabry for Nketiah and Partey? What a trade. What a trade that would be. A's up forever. What a trade that would be tomorrow, man. 100%. I do it today, in fact. Man said tomorrow. Fulham can talk their stuff. They could talk their stuff. But allow it, man. Allow it. No matter what you say about my football club, we might not be the biggest and baddest and won it all. We've stressed out a lot of other teams. We've achieved certain histories, and we've given rival fans some sleepless nights. You know what we do. But for a team that's got cannons on our crest, we bust blanks yesterday. So, yeah, man. Who? Don't know who that is, mate. Who do you support, Mandy? Don't know, man. Don't know. I just hear a lot of yapping. Like, man. Just leave me alone, man. But, yeah. It's a stressful day, but, boy, this is what you learn from, innit? This is the moments you learn who you are as a man. You know, if you have it all your way, you're not going to get anywhere. How we react to adversity and failure, these players need to get used to it. Look at everything City have won. They went out the champs. I think they probably even feel worse than us because they wanted to do it again. Winning, losing, it comes with it. So get used to it. Now it, man. I don't want to big up all the. Listen, I'm a respectful football fan, innit? I've got nothing but respectful love for everyone, but I don't want to hear it from Man United, from Chelsea. I definitely don't want to hear it from West Ham and all them other clubs. I'm never hearing it from Spurs. The one thing I'll give Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United, them kind of clubs, at least you lot have won things and done things. Spurs fans could never tell me nothing about football. I'm so sorry. The closest you're going to get to even doing anything is cheering on Harry Kane, who scored a one little penalty. Big him up for that. And Eric Dyer, boy, you're the only reason I don't want Bayern Munich to win that. That's probably the most annoying thing about the two legs for me. We didn't put Eric Dyer under no pressure. How the hell is he at Bayern Munich? So it is what it is, man. We just have to go again. Like there's nothing else I could say. There's nothing we could do. We just have to move on to Wolves and what's left of the games now and just keep it moving, man. We can feel sorry for ourselves and cry. We can get back on and see where we can end up, man. But yeah, man. I'd love for it to be a fairy tale at the end, but it is what it is, man. Man said, respect DG to even stream. My head is somewhere else since yesterday. I'm on vacation mentally. I hear it. Arsenal couldn't finish in front of goal this week. Bad time to go cold. It's never a good time to go cold. And yeah, it was happen. It was going to happen. At 3 p.m. people, I'm going to be live with Jess and we're going to continue talking about Arsenal. So it's time for me to end this therapy session and prepare that next live stream. As usual, win, lose or draw. Big up you lot for your talking points, differences of opinions and all that good stuff. If you haven't hit the like button, subscribed and all of that stuff, what are you doing? Hope you lot are safe and blessed. And I hope this week away from football is glorious for you lot. We talk about individual millions. I know someone who has that.
Against this right back, Charlie.
Hey, Arteta should have played me, man.